I thought I'd begin with the piece that actually spoke to me. Basically, what this reminded me of was an estate sale. So it gives you that, to me at least, it gives me that same feeling of kind of finding out what a person's life is like by the objects that are left behind. I know when I first saw this one, it reminded me of hotels or motels that I've occasionally had to stay in. And it makes me happy that I don't have to stay in this kind of hotel or motel anymore. But I think his idea was really to generate sympathy for the people, you know, who live this way, rather than the people thinking, oh, I'm better than this, which may have been my attitude. You know, it was definitely a blue collar kind of experience, and I think he's always had a lot of sympathy for sort of the underdog and the underclasses. It doesn't need the figure because we really can see a whole lot about what that person's life was like. They did go all over the world and found objects that sort of spoke to them, that were filled with magic, and then they would bring them home and find ways of incorporating them in projects. So a whole lot of their lives were spent kind of basically junking. I actually like his color palette. I think the colors and the textures go really well together. And I mean, I know in my own work, it's really important not to have an element that stands out, you know, that looks like it's from a different world. And in this case, it all looks like it's from the same time, the same person. And he called them tableaus rather than installations or 3D pieces of art. But I think in part what attracted me to him was, for a while I was doing set design when I worked at Will Vinton Studios. I think people probably bring a lot of their own feelings toward it. Segal had an interesting upbringing too. His father moved to New Jersey and had a poultry farm, and he went to art school, but he said the art school didn't give him much encouragement because he couldn't draw, and they said he'd never be able to make it in the art world. And so when he graduated from college, he started his own poultry farm and ended up kind of, after a few years, getting rid of all of the chickens and using the poultry barn as his studio. To me, his stuff just leaves me a bit cold. I don't understand this person. I mean, it doesn't give me any clues. Mark Rothko mentioned that he called Segal's work walk-in hoppers. And you know, they do have that same kind of feeling of coldness and distance and detachment from their environment. That blue against that figure I find kind of jarring. It doesn't appeal to me aesthetically. And then I think also to me partly because of the process involved, his figures seem very stiff. And so I guess I like more of the Rodin quality, or, you know, something that I feel has been more processed and not just, you know, encased. A lot of his figures, and I don't know, maybe the people who were posing for him were bored, but there's that kind of closed stance looking down. Yeah, and I guess also if someone's slathering you with plaster, you can't really move around or take an interesting posture. But you know, a whole lot of it's just my own prejudice.